Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jay here to talk a little bit about this streamer Kai Cenat, uh, a Twitter, Twitch, and online influencer who caused a riot in New York City this past weekend over PlayStation 5 and ticket giveaways. Hey Lisa, what's going on in New York City? So this guy who was the uh, winner of the 21st Streamy Awards for Best Streamer, and nominated two times before that. One of the biggest social media influencers on the internet. I happened to see an interview myself with him and rapper Ice Spice, uh, like like a few months back. He was giving away PlayStation 5s and raffle tickets in New York City, and all of a sudden, you know, it was such popular mayhem that he caused a riot over these giveaways. Now, what do I think of this? What is my opinion of this? Honestly, my opinion is that uh, the whole world is going crazy, and I think if a person like him had used his influence for something positive, now granted, he's 21 years old, but my point is, with his power and his influence throughout the internet, imagine if he could have, influenced people to do something positive in their communities and in their world. He probably this probably wouldn't have happened, but because uh, the internet is such a powerful tool, yeah. So 21-year-old, think about it this way, Elise. Take an individual from our generation, millennials, people born in the late 80s, the late to mid 80s. I was myself born in 1985, grew up in the 90s. Take an individual from our generation that was similar. Granted, he had a much larger reach, but Tupac Shakur. Take an individual such as this. Tupac Shakur, granted, he was older than 21, but he had a much more positive and much more conscious outlook on the world than somebody such as this. You know what I mean? He had a plan. He had a focused political philosophy, even in his mid to late 20s. And that to me shows that to me shows the differences in Lisa says Tupac to most people was considered a gangster rapper. True. But did anybody ever listen to his lyrics? Did anybody take the time to listen to even the most popular of Tupac's songs? Granted, uh, Changes was a song that came out after he passed away, but it was still politically focused. Hell, Tupac, when he was a teenager, was more political as a teenager than a lot of people are in their mid to late 30s or 40s. He already had a political philosophy coherent and a political outlook coherently. Somebody like a Martin Luther King Jr., even in his early 20s, was already uh, focusing on his philosophical outlook. and honing his political outlook. You know what I mean? So my point is, people from different generations react differently. Now, am I begrudging Kai Cient for his antics? I can't say that I don't really know anything really about him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, in general, a person with this kind of following could influence a lot of young people. Because one thing I notice about this generation, okay, Lisa says you cannot compare them to a streamer. He did what he thought was a good idea. I guess, I'm not. But my point is, somebody with this much political, uh, what would I have done? Well, I would have had more police presence. Now, people will say hypocritically, well, okay, more police presence. They'll probably, especially if he had a really uh, leftist, uh, left wing political outlook in his message. If it was if his message was in any way political, if he had a more left wing political outlook, maybe that having heavy police presence wouldn't be the greatest thing. For example, I'm looking at somebody like Raz Simone. Okay, he's not a political person; he's a streamer. But my point, okay, a streamer, but people stream things all the time. I'm streaming right now. My point is the power of a person such as him, the power of his influence. One thing I'll stress is that there is power in the tongue. You know what I mean? The words you put out there will reverberate in the vibes that you will get in the world. So if you put out, say, positive vibes, you will get positive responses and results. If you put out negative vibes, you will get negative responses and results. Now, I don't know his content. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what kind of content he puts out, but what I am saying is somebody with that amount of power. I'm looking at, again, somebody like Raz Simone, somebody who led the Chaz protests in Portland in 2020. Here he was a SoundCloud rapper, Raz Simone, and he was able to rally people behind his message to get them in the Chaz thing. Now, did it work out? No. you know, it had disastrous consequences. But my point is that these streamers have a lot of power and influence, and there's power in the tongue. Think of somebody, even now, somebody like an Andrew Tate, for example, who is an empowering figure. Somebody like uh, we talked about before with Ice Cube. People, those are older guys, people with an older audience. But my point is uh, uh, that Gen Z, okay, Lisa saying what he did was positive, but the only thing he didn't do right was get the police to guard the event. Yeah, I'm sure that could have happened with anybody. Hell, it happened to Puffy. People remember back in the 90s, I think it was like 1993 or 4, that event. Biggie was just coming out. He was on that Party and Bullshit soundtrack, so that was probably the year that Who's the Man, the Ed Lover and Dr. Dre uh, movie came out that Party and Bullshit was on that soundtrack when Puffy had that concert in City College, where somebody stormed the stage and people died. I don't think anybody died in this one, so you know what I mean. That was this one was a little more organized than that one back in the '90s. So things like this did happen before back in the day. Yeah, Lisa says no one died. So yeah, um, but let me look up that City College incident. Uh, yeah, this is also how the fans acted as well. Yeah, the City College incident I was talking about uh, with Puffy, I was mistaken. It wasn't 93. It was like 91, 1991. Uh, that Puffy gave a concert and it got so rowdy and wild that people stampeded and like 9 people died in New York City in 1991. And that's what this honest. Uh, that's what this incident honestly kind of reminded me of. Now, granted, being a streamer is not the same thing as being a musician. Like we said before earlier in the other video with the Jason Aldean stuff, and I've always said this, and Lisa has said it too, that music is way more powerful. Music has a hold on people. Music, listening to music can make individuals act in crazy ways. Now, being a streamer is not the same thing because it's not as powerful. It doesn't reach as many people. Now, sometimes it does because people are great orators. For example, uh, yeah, Lisa's saying now apparently streamers have great power because, again, there's great power in the tongue. You know what I mean? The Bible speaks of being having great power in the tongue, and people don't call social media personalities influencers for nothing. They influence society way more than music. But I'm saying it doesn't have music has the power not only of words but of the hypnotic beats. You know how many times do people say, well, uh, and Ice Cube himself has a song about this. Gangsta rap made me do it. You know what I mean? Because remember in the early '90s when he was popular, he, that was the time when people were blaming gangster rap for all the social ills of the world. People like Pastor Gavin A. Butts from the Abyssinian Baptist Church, people like C. Dolores Tucker, people like Tipper Gore. And going back before that, one of the earliest incidents that I can remember studying about was the riot at the Altamont Speedway in 1968 with the Rolling Stones, where the Rolling Stones had a concert and people rioted. This was in 1968. Even going back even before that, um, you had incidents, and you could go watch it in the 2022 movie on Elvis's life that was nominated for an Oscar. At Elvis's concerts, people were crazy. You know what I mean? Going back even before that, uh, the jazz age. You know what I mean? Jazz would send people into hypnotic trance, and so this has always been kind of a thing. But with streamers, I think it's a little bit different because, again, they don't have the power of the hypnotic beat behind them, but they do have the power of, again, the tongue. Like I was saying, in 2008, and we talked about this before in the channel, one of the ways that Barack Obama became so popular was through the power of the internet. One of the ways in 2016 that Donald Trump became so popular because of the internet. And they weren't playing music, you know what I mean? They were speaking directly to you. So, uh, although music is very powerful, streaming in certain ways is also very powerful. But what I notice about Gen Z and the people that they admire, the people that they look up to, the pop culture figures of their era, is their era has no message. You know what I mean? It's not a positive message like a Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. It's not a negative message like a gangster rap or heavy metal in the 1970s or even early rock and roll in the mid to late 60s. It is no kind of message. It's a nihilistic message. It's a message of deep, uncaring, uninterested thing. It's not a message of hope. It's not a message of inspiration. It's actually, to me, it's a message of desperation. And Lisa's saying that streamers have to be more responsible with their platform because music artists aren't really influencing anything. Yeah. And see how in the generations we moved from the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings to the Tupacs and the Biggies, from the Tupacs and the Biggies to the social media influencers. And each and every time we've moved towards a further and further digression of our society. Because if you look at it this way, I don't know, again, I don't know what this guy speaks about. I don't know what his message is. He's not somebody that I follow. You know what I mean? I don't know if he even has a message, but I do know. Okay, somebody said he's the GOAT. Okay, somebody. Uh, okay, he's a comedian, entertainer. Okay, all right, cool. Okay. Well, when it comes, okay, he's the number one Twitch streamer in the world. Uh, okay, when it comes to comedians are an interesting one because comedians have always comedians have always had the center. They've always had their pulse. They always had their pulse on the finger of society in a sense. Because if you go back to like Lenny Bruce or people like George Carlin or people like Richard Pryor, uh, in that era, comedians are social critics. So comedians, in a way, could finger a situation a lot better than even musicians, because musicians are speaking in the abstract, whereas comedians are speaking in the direct of social critique. Like I said, people like Carlin, people like Lenny Bruce, people like Richard Pryor, people like Bill Maher, people like even Red Fox. Red Fox in his day, uh, maybe not so much social commentary, but just rawness and realness and humor. uh, Another example of that, the late Robin Harris, um, Bebe's Kids fame. So I don't, you know, this guy might be something similar. Lisa says, I don't think you can compare comedians on social media to comedians from back in the day. It's different. Okay. Lisa says, comedians on social media are more of a stunt type comedians. Okay. Physical comedy. Yeah. But physical comedy has always been a thing in comedy. You know what I mean? Back to uh, okay, yeah. Dre is saying kind of similar to a modern day David Chappelle, but in streaming, he's a higher energy and okay. Uh, Dre, who would you say? Who would you say? Okay, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart. Okay, well, Kevin Hart to me, decent, but none to write home about. Dave Chappelle is one of the most brilliant comedians that I've ever come across. Yeah, I loved him. You know, I loved him in How High. I loved his new stuff. I think uh, when they canceled Dave Chappelle, when they tried to cancel him, like back 3 years ago, I came to his defense. But physical comedy has always been a thing too in comedy. Hell, look at the the Three Stooges. Um, uh, is a perfect example of that. Burt Williams. But hey, you know what I mean? If this guy has such a huge following and this guy is so influential, hey, more power to him. But I think uh, it just got out of hand. He tried to do something positive for the community, tried to do something positive for his fans, and it just got out of hand. You know, that could happen. I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying that it was his fault, but yeah. He got now. Okay, yeah. Dre is saying he does prank videos, skits, vlogs, Instagram vlogs with Instagram models. Okay, I'm gonna check some of his stuff out. Probably should have checked more of his stuff out before I even did this video. But uh, this was that. Uh, oh, even corn stars. Okay, corn stars too. Oh, inciting a riot. I don't know. I don't see how anybody uh, that does the kind of things that Dre is describing that he does uh, can start a riot. You know what I'm saying? But hey, this kind of cancel culture, they always look for for something uh, to cancel people on. Always looking for. Oh, Steve Owen, Jackass, that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. See, now, now Dre's talking about something that I know about, something that's my era. You know, Steve, Steve O, Steve O, and Jackass. Yeah, honestly, that was kind of stupid shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Stupid stuff. I mean, Lisa saying she's seen videos he did with celebrities. Yeah, I seen the one interview with Ice Spice, where he put on the Nike Tech outfit. What I mean? That was the only one I saw. You know what I mean? And She was like he's kind of too short for her. So I guess he would be considered a munch. Lisa says he did an interview with Mario, and that's Mario the singer, not Mario the video game character. But the point is that influencers have a tremendous amount of power on social media. You know what I mean? I mean, how? Look at the reaction that you put somebody in a title like Adam 22 and automatically gets a lot of views just from the interview that the interview Adam 22 does on his channel on No Jumper, or somebody like Cripnack. You know what I mean? Cripnack. He does a video. It gets well. The NYPD probably just the way they probably seen it. You know what I mean? You got to remember that the NYPD is very biased. Probably doesn't really like young people. Doesn't really like the. It's an African American influencer. Probably racist. You know what I mean? Thinking, oh, well, he's just gonna cause a riot anyway because that's quote unquote how they are, right? Thinking, thinking that he's probably dangerous, or you know, they have a very low opinion, as it were, of um, people of color in general. So they're gonna want it to play out the way that they think it's gonna play out. You know what I mean? And the people doing what they're doing what they did, plays into their hands in a sense. The NYPD is one of the worst run organizations, police departments in the entire world. Even more poorly run now since 2020 because they feel as though they're getting the shitty end of the stick because the public doesn't really. Well, okay, well, but Cardi B has a largely female audience. I'm guessing this guy has a largely male audience. Okay, I know the giveaway wasn't just females, at least I'm not saying that. But I'm saying her music is not. Well, he doesn't make music, so I can't say that. But I'm saying her music is not aggressive music. So why would I mean the uh, the most anybody would do at one of her concerts probably just twerk a lot. Yeah, she gave away those coats. I remember that. But you know, her music. I mean, her concerts have gotten a little lively also. You know what I mean? It all depends on what people are doing. You know what I'm saying? You can't really even go on just the audience because Woodstock '99 is a perfect example. How here you have a rock and roll concert to honor the 30th anniversary of Woodstock in 1969 that largely went over smoothly. And when they came back 30 years later in 1999, people literally burned the place down, and that was heavy metal. You know what I mean? So heavy metal rock. The night they burned the whole place down, I think those acts was Corn the rock band, not Corn the. Well, yeah, Lisa, because this is after 2020. Remember, the police feel like they give off the rhetoric that everybody's against them because of the rhetoric that the Democrats and the left gave that was anti-police. You know, remember the defund the police rhetoric during 2020? The giveaway that Cardi B had was in 2019 with the coats that I remember. So it was before COVID. I think after COVID, uh, with the combination of COVID and the anti-police rhetoric that at least the news media, the Fox News media, the conservative media was giving off, that uh, everyone was anti-cop, that they were taking the slogan defund the police and twisting it to mean that the world was anti-police. Now the police feel like, okay, they have an event, they just say fuck it, and they don't want to guard the event anymore, and then that could turn, uh, that could turn wild and rambunctious. No, I don't think so. Lisa saying, so you're saying the cops wouldn't have cared about this recent thing? No, because cops are being more. I mean, cops now, post 2020, are being more racist and more assholish than they were before 2020 because a lot of them perceive the public at large to be against them. So their attitude is like, okay, y'all say that we don't matter. Y'all say that you want to defund us. Y'all say that we don't, that all we do is harm the public and we don't protect and serve and we're the bad guys. But we're going to show you by not being there when something really goes down. And that's how they're acting. That's how uh, that's how they're acting in New York City. That's how they're acting in cities across the country because the conservative media took the took the justice rhetoric of defund the police and they made it as though it was a thing of the public, the people, versus the police departments across the country. And a lot of times it was But that was because they weren't doing their own job, like cleaning their own house. So the public got fed up with them. Plus, the mayor, Mayor Adams, is wildly unpopular with the people in New York City because of the migrant situation. They feel like he is letting too many migrants into the country. This is way off topic from the Cenat uh, situation with the riot, but I think this answers the question of the police. Where was the police response? Why was the police uh, response so delayed? But that's my answer because that's yeah, I know, I know. Okay, Lisa, thank you for contributing. Thank you, Dre, for contributing. Yeah, you guys helped me a lot. I know next to nothing about this young man, next to nothing about his social media footprint. I just don't follow that kind of content. You know what I mean? But hey, uh, I just said the police presence should have been beefed up a lot more. And if they knew we were gonna have this event, he should have been protected. Some something could have happened to him personally. But anyway, thank God it didn't. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe with the bell button so you know my next videos coming up.